Good evening. You're about to hear the moment a teenage hero saved his family lost at sea. No one knew where they were and no one was looking for them.
We've brought you the story of Austin Appleby before and his incredible mission to swim alone for hours to get help for his mother, brother and sister. But we've never been able to play you his 000 call for help until now.
After an almost superhuman effort to save his family, these are Austin Appleby's first words.
Police emergency. What location do you need the police?
Hello, my name's Austin. I have two siblings, Bo and Grace. Bo is 12 and Grace is 8. Mm-hmm. We went out on a kayak trip and a paddleboard trip, and we took out to sea, and we got lost out there.
5 hours later, after the family realised nobody was coming, Austin describes his mum's life or death decision.
We couldn't get back to shore, and Mum told me to go back to get help. I don't know what their condition is right now, and I'm really scared. I think they're kilometres out in sea. I think we need a helicopter to go find them. I'm sitting on the beach right now, and I have to also explain, I think I need an ambulance because I think I have hypothermia.
Staying calm, he explains his incredible journey back to shore, forced to leave his kayak after it took on too much water.
So I had to take off my life jacket and I had to swim around about 4 kilometres facing the current. And I'm extremely tired. I think I have heat stroke and I feel like I'm about to pass out. I'm very dizzy.
Can you still see how far out Mum and the kids are?
No, I actually can't. I've lost sight of them.
2 hours later, emergency crews could, bringing the whole family home safe.
That clear, concise phone call and was absolutely crucial in us being able to ascertain the nature of the emergency and the severity of the emergency straight away.
Can you tell me your last name, Austin?
Appleby, Applebee.
The name of a hero. Nick Overall, 7 News.
Police say a monstrous child abuser plotting the abduction of a local Perth girl had pinpointed a target and was ready to strike. Detectives today revealing more chilling details of what they uncovered raiding Jason Forbes' Baldivis home.
Officers say he screamed when they forced their way in before even hardened officers were shocked at the level of depravity inside.
The face of evil behind a diabolical plan. Police today revealing Jason Forbes was ready to snatch a young girl off the street any day.
There was serious and imminent risk if there had been any delay in this investigation.
Caught importing a child sex doll in 2024, Border Force started immediate surveillance. 10 days later, they pounced. Neighbours heard Forbes screaming at 4 a.m. when officers arrived at his door.
Once we got into the premises, it was apparent why he didn't want us in the premises. There was an electronic device displaying child abuse material on the kitchen bench.
They found another child sex doll on Forbes' bed, his dark plot mapped out on the mirror, the disturbing modifications to his attic and his car, blacked out windows and cameras manipulated to secretly film kids. Forbes' computer revealed masses of exploitation material, child victims, including infants.
The levels of depravity are constantly shifting.
His search history revealed his plans and his dark inspiration, research into a notorious United States kidnapping.
Authorities arrested the couple Wednesday on suspicion of abducting Dugard and holding her in their backyard compound.
That 11-year-old girl, snatched in 91, held prisoner and raped for 18 years.
Every child in Western Australia should be able to play in their front yard without fear of somebody potentially driving by and grabbing them.
In the weeks before his arrest, Forbes in his red Tesla sat outside southern suburbs childcare centres scoping victims. He secretly photographed 2 children in their front yard, parents shocked when police told them the photograph had been placed in a folder titled X marks the spot.
Planning was well advanced.
Former co-workers of the one-time electrician telling 7 News they're surprised and disgusted. The business considering changing its name to distance themselves from the monster whose selfies feature their uniform.
He was a loner. He lived alone and lived quite a hermit type lifestyle.
Forbes' former neighbours, many of them with young children, say 7 years and 5 months is not an adequate sentence. Eligible for parole as early as 2029, it'll be up to the Federal Attorney General to decide whether it is safe to release him as a registered sex offender for life. James Carmody, 7 News.
To developing news now out of Canberra, Angus Taylor has set in motion a likely leadership challenge of Susan Lee. Mr Taylor has confirmed he's quit the front bench, making a spill all but inevitable. Let's go live now to Tim Lester at Parliament House. Tim, how have events unfolded there tonight?
Well, Tim, they unfolded very late, as it turned out, not until 7:10 when Angus Taylor, the likely challenger, finally left his office, breaking a couple of days of effective silence, making a 50-metre walk to Susan Lee, the opposition leader's office, to declare that he was quitting the front bench, an absolute precursor to a leadership vote, you would think, though that leadership vote and when it will happen is still undecided. Mr Taylor then emerged a couple of minutes later to make some stinging criticisms of the opposition leader and to refer to the situation of the federal Liberals as desperate. Here's some of what he had to say.
Tonight, I've tendered my resignation as a member of the Shadow Cabinet. We can't mince with words. The Liberal Party is at the worst position it has been since 1944 when the party was formed. We need strong leadership, clear direction and a relentless and courageous focus on our values.
I'm told by a Liberal Party insider they now expect that there will be a formal request for a leadership vote meeting to go to the party whip, likely tomorrow morning. That would then bring on a vote of the 51-member party room, perhaps before about midday Friday, when politicians would be looking to go home. You'd think that Angus Taylor would have the numbers if he's brought this on, but that same insider said to me it is perilously narrow between he and Susan Lee hanging on to a job. Ange.
OK, Tim, thanks for that. There's more than 6 serious incidents happening at Perth childcare centres every day and rising.
Children being pricked by needles, locked alone inside and left on buses are just some examples. Tonight there are calls for a new watchdog to take charge of the WA industry.
Glenn Cole knows all too well a parent's feeling of pure fear for their child's safety.
We got the dreaded phone call, I think it was around 10 o'clock in the morning, that she'd picked up a syringe.
Concerns Abby had been pricked by a needle at Busy Bees in Mirrabooka in April 2024.
It's just instant shock and a bit of anger as well that it had actually happened. I was kind of a bit in disbelief, really, to be honest.
Later that year, the operator of the same childcare centre fined $16,000 after a child was unsupervised for more than 20 minutes. That case, one of thousands of safety breaches recorded in centres across WA in the previous financial year.
The trust of parents in early education and care has been shaken in Australia by reports of abuse, mistreatment, neglect.
2,286 serious incidents were reported, an 81% jump from 5 years ago. Almost 300 children were either locked in or out of a centre, taken away or unaccounted for. Emergency services called 178 times. The opposition believes the evidence is so damning they want to see responsibility for overseeing childcare safety stripped from the Department of Communities. Instead, they want an independent watchdog established, tasked with overhauling the industry.
Other states have done it. When we're talking about the safety of our kids, the stakes couldn't be higher.
But the government says, unlike other states, the overseeing body here is already independent. Busy Bees says it has learnt from its mistakes.
You just want them to be safe, is the main thing.
Brianna Ferreira, 7 News.
Staff at St John of God Hospital in Midland have been left shaken after a man threatened them with a fake gun. Live to Nick Overall in the newsroom. Nick, what can you tell us?
Tim, it's understood the man handed a note to staff in the emergency department threatening violence if he wasn't seen immediately. The man in his 40s was taken to hospital by police after they received a call he was suffering a medical emergency. It's understood he then presented himself to the ED. 7 News is told he had a replica toy gun in his pocket, which he showed to staff. 2 police there for a different reason arrested the man soon after. According to police, there is insufficient evidence to charge him at this time, but they say there is no ongoing threat to the community. It's understood hospital staff are being provided support. Ange.
Thanks, Nick. The Israeli president has taken his Australian tour to Canberra, along with the protests and the tension.
Despite Israel's fierce criticism of Anthony Albanese in the wake of the Bondi massacre, Isaac Herzog was welcomed by the Prime Minister with open arms.
Rolling out the red carpet so Anthony Albanese can be seen walking shoulder to shoulder with Israel. On the road from the airport, a less welcoming message quickly covered up. As Israel's head of state meets ours, greeted by Governor-General Sam Mostyn.
I think it is terribly important that your visit is one that stands with those who are still grieving.
We both share the need to fight anti-Semitism.
Security tight, on the ground and above, as news of his visit to the Israeli embassy reaches protesters outside Parliament House.
A peace tree. I mean, hypocrisy doesn't even begin to cover it.
A smaller protest than Sydney and not violent, but their message just as direct for a man accused by the UN of inciting genocide in Gaza, something he angrily denies.
Arrest Herzog! Arrest Herzog!
And the same provocative chant.
From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!
As he is ushered in the other side. The Israeli government's criticism of Anthony Albanese after the Bondi massacre was brutal, but the president says his mission here is to repair, not get square.
There's also an opportunity to bring the relations between our nations on a new beginning.
You've provided comfort to the Jewish Australian community.
In private, Anthony Albanese restated Australian anger over the killing of aid worker Zomi Frankham and its desire to see the death in Gaza end.
We in Australia want to see peace in the Middle East.
And here. Anthony Albanese is pushing back strongly against that criticism of the visit. He says it's allowed him to deliver Australia's concerns over Gaza directly to the Israeli president, as well as our shared grief over the Bondi killings. And he's assured the president the new anti-hate laws will better protect Australia's Jewish community. President Herzog returns to Sydney tonight before spending the final day of his visit in Melbourne tomorrow. Ange.
Mark, thank you. 10 people have died and 25 more are in hospital after a horrific mass shooting in Canada. Most of the victims were killed at a high school in the town of Tumbler Ridge, over 1,000 kilometres north of Vancouver. The shooter, reportedly a woman, died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
The people of Tumbler Ridge remain in a state of crisis following one of the worst mass shootings in our province's and country's history.
The mayor said the town is so small he'll likely know every victim.
2 brothers at the centre of a brutal nightclub assault have avoided jail time. The men were working as bouncers at the Lookout in Scarborough when they unleashed on a drunk patron.
This is the moment crowd control spirals out of control. A security guard straddles a patron lying on the floor, throwing multiple punches. Then another bouncer jumps in, landing 2 punches and a kick. A magistrate describing the video as chilling. The victim, Nathan Kidd, suffered these injuries to his face. At one point, his wife Leonie tried to intervene and was knocked back.
Do you have a message for the victim?
Nazir and Enver Ibrahimovic were behind the violent assault in April last year. The court heard the brothers were escorting a patron out of the Lookout bar in Scarborough when it escalated.
Do you regret what happened that night?
the pair admitting they went too far. A magistrate confident they were acting utterly out of character, taking into account childhood trauma from fleeing a war-torn country, and that they were both under extreme pressure when it occurred. Today, the men avoided jail, placed on a supervision order instead. Powerful character references were read out in court today, including one from the venue manager, who said she would hire Enver Ibrahimovic back in an instant if she could. But neither man can ever return to the job. Their security licences have been revoked. Rebecca Petroska, 7 News.
The FBI finally has a breakthrough in the search for missing American grandmother Nancy Guthrie. They've hauled in a suspect and then released him, also searching a house, giving the 84-year-old's family fresh hope.
Police swarm a house in southern Arizona. The woman who lives here struggling to understand why.
They're just invading my property. I told them they're going in and out my house, taking a lot of pictures and everything.
Police detained a man at Rio Rico, 20 kilometres from the Mexican border, an hour south of Tucson from where Nancy Guthrie was seemingly abducted.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And we do have major breaking news as the Pima County Sheriff's deputies and the FBI have detained a person for questioning in the Nancy Guthrie case.
Confirmed to us that was involved in this traffic stop. It's a silver Nissan Rogue. Is this your son-in-law's vehicle?
The one that was on the side of there, that's my daughter's vehicle. He works in Tucson.
What does he do?
He's a delivery guy.
This just hours after the FBI released this video. A masked intruder outside Nancy Guthrie's home, armed with what appears to be a handgun. Spotting the doorbell camera, the person hits it, tampers with it, then turns around, exposing a stuffed backpack. They appear to look for something, eventually ripping a plant from the garden, using the shrubbery to obstruct the lens.
They did not look like they expected there to be a camera, which you would have expected someone who's more proficient to have done some recon.
Every single available clue analysed by the FBI, frame by frame.
That it's highly premeditated and very poorly planned. Those pavers, those are a known size, probably like a foot square. That gives you a shoe size. From the shoe size, you get height. There is so much that they learn from this.
The video was captured on February 1, hours before the 84-year-old was reported missing. But Nancy Guthrie didn't pay for a subscription for the camera that would have automatically saved the video. After 10 days, the FBI says the vision was retrieved from residual data.
But this is a demonstration to people out there that digital evidence very rarely goes away.
From her TV host daughter, Savannah Guthrie, we believe she is still alive. Someone out there recognises this person. A chilling development, but newfound hope this mystery might be solved. In Phoenix, Arizona, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
Sam Jolly joins us now. And Sam, the sunshine was back today.
It was, Tim. The impacts of Tropical Cyclone Mitchell are well and truly behind us now. We are in a more typical summer pattern. We had a late maximum. It was 30 degrees around 4:30 this afternoon and the overnight low was 18. Temperatures were fairly even across the board. The coolest was 27 degrees. That was in Bickley. Mandurah was actually a hot spot, 31 degrees, but most areas hovered around 29 to 30. We do have a high pressure ridge over the south and a west coast trough will develop from tomorrow. That will strengthen, so our days will stay nice and warm, but a cold front will brush the south heading into the weekend, so we have just a slight chance of a light shower or two. I'll have those details soon, Tim and Ange.